So they made these, essentially they're like outhouses if you Google it. And that was the first ever Rotary service project in 1907. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So we've come quite a long way from outhouses to grape escape. Yeah, all right. Everyone, we're going to take a break for lunch and we'll start our visiting Rotarians up pretty soon. Rotarian and yes, Melissa Buffner has a guest. If you could come up with them. Rich Houdeman has a guest. And Susan Evans, our presenter, if you'd like to come up, we'll introduce you to the club. Jackie's going to hand the Rotarian the mic and you will introduce your guest to the club. And are we on this, Mark?
Hi, everyone. I just want to introduce my guest today, Andrea Rose. She is the president of the Muskegon Lumberjacks, freshly appointed. She's been with the Lumberjacks since 2018. She actually did some work with them back around 2010, but had some other opportunities, but back with the club in 18 and now freshly president. Her husband is Jeff. They live in Norton Shores. They have 4 kids, some blended. And you were Fruitport Trojan, and she's a Grand Valley Laker, so anchor up. That's the harbor of the Midwest, if you guys didn't know that. And that's about it. Anything you want to?
That's good, Pat. Thank you. Welcome.
Hello, Melissa Buffner, and I brought Dr. Todd Rexford today as a guest. Todd and his wife are native here to Muskegon, live in Norton Shores. We're neighbors. I don't know if you know Josh Rexford Photography, that's his son, and Sarah. And Dr. Todd is hopefully going to be a Rotarian, very interested, and so happy to have him with us today.
Thanks, Lisa.
So I'm happy to introduce Susan Evans. Susan is the program coordinator for the Alzheimer's Association. She is here in the local office, which is located on the about to be beautiful Seminole Road in the fabulous city of Norton Shores. You can pay me later, Mark Myers. And Susan is our guest speaker today, so we'll be seeing her on the big screen and then she'll be available for questions afterwards.
All right, now without any further ado, we're going to move on to our program. This is a recorded program that's hosted by Rem Sprague. Take it away, Mike.
Well, good afternoon, Rotarians. I'm pleased to introduce today's presentation on the Alzheimer's Association of Michigan. Today we have 2 guests with us, Susan Evans and Jean Barnes. Susan is a program coordinator with the Alzheimer's Association Michigan chapter. She's responsible for the development, coordination, implementation, and evaluation of programs and services in the Northern and West Michigan areas. Susan is a Michigan native. She returned here last year after living in Florida for 30 years, where she raised a family and worked for several healthcare organizations. Susan earned a bachelor's in gerontology and a master's in adult learning from the University of South Florida, and now resides in Mason County. Jean Barnes has been with the Alzheimer's Association since 2001, working in the care and support area in a variety of roles. Currently, she is the Program Services Director. Jean has a Bachelor of Science in Family Community Services and a Master of Arts in Gerontology and Counseling. She's worked in multiple capacities, serving older adults and their families as a counselor, recreation therapist, and family and resident life director. In September 2006, Jean fundraised nearly $30,000 for the Alzheimer's Association as she joined the Ascent for Alzheimer's World Team climbing Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa. Welcome, Susan and Jean. So
Thank
Susan,
you.
you bet. So just to get started, give us a little background, if you would, on Alzheimer's disease and try to differentiate it from other forms of dementia.
Yeah, thank you. So Alzheimer's itself is a specific disease. It is just one type of dementia. And dementia is the loss of memory, reasoning, or other thinking. So there are many different types of dementia. Alzheimer's is just the most common. And you may have heard of other types like Lewy body dementia. I know that probably got a lot of attention with Robin Williams finding out that he actually had Lewy body dementia. But also vascular dementia, frontotemporal dementia, and there are many other lesser known dementias. But Alzheimer's is a degenerative brain disease. It's characterized by brain cell damage, brain cell loss. It is a progressive brain disease. It is fatal. There is no cure. There is no way to prevent it. There is no way to reverse damage. And until just recently, there was no way to slow the progression. And Jean is going to talk about that a little later.
So talk about the Alzheimer's Association, please. Who do you serve? What services and resources do you provide?
Yeah, thank you. So we are the Alzheimer's Association Michigan chapter. We serve the entire state of Michigan. And I'd say most importantly, we provide care and support to individuals with dementia and their caregivers. So what does that mean, care and support? So that means we offer education programs. We have volunteer-led education programs that are mainly for caregivers on topics like understanding dementia-related behavior. And we even have some wellness topics that we can speak to groups as kind of an employee wellness presentation. But we also have volunteer-led support groups. And in terms of care and support, our 24/7 helpline really fills that gap, being there obviously 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even during pandemics. It's always open. And that number is the 800-272-3900. And when you call, you can get answers to questions. We can email you. We can mail you hard copies in the mail. We can help you find providers in your area. You can reach a master's level clinician. And this is really a nice service through the helpline. So that person can work with you individually to support you in your journey and what your challenges are that you're facing. And we also have a social engagement program called Community Connect. So that is a great way for people with dementia and their caregivers to stay socially engaged. And that can be a challenge because of unpredictable social behaviors. Some people really pull back and shy away from that. And so this is a great program. Those events are still virtual right now, but even when we go back to in-person social engagement events, we're going to keep some things virtual because it's a really nice way to keep a person with dementia and their caregiver engaged when they can't get out. So we plan on keeping some of that virtual. And those events themselves are the result of partnerships we have with organizations like the Detroit Institute of Arts, the Detroit Symphony Orchestra, the Detroit Zoo, Henry Ford Museum. And those are just really nice offerings for those individuals. And also, in terms of what we do, I just want to mention that, and this is something that I didn't know until I joined the Alzheimer's Association, was that we're the largest non-governmental nonprofit funder of Alzheimer's and dementia research in the world. So only next to the US government and the Chinese government. But Jean's going to talk about that as well. But that kind of sums it up.
Great. Well, it sounds like a lot of very personal interaction, some of the social outings and events. But, with COVID, things changed quite a bit. Can you talk a little bit about how COVID impacted your services and your service delivery?
Yeah, well, we were thankfully able to pivot. There's that buzzword from the pandemic, right? Pivoted to virtual. And in the case of a lot of older adults that we serve, we realized that we had to stop calling it virtual because that was very scary to people. So there are a lot of individuals in Michigan, especially rural areas, who may not have computers, may not even have internet service. So we also, refer to it as telephone programs because even with a Zoom, that's available by phone. So we were able to provide those virtual or telephone education programs, support groups, and it really kept us accessible to those who were not able to get out. And our 24/7 helpline stayed active the whole time. So it was something different. It was a little scary sometimes. I remember one particular group that we had almost 100 people on the phone at the same time. And they all knew each other and hadn't had much of a chance to connect. And so it was a lot of, oh, hi, oh, hi, oh, hi, how have you been? How have you been? It was a little bit crazy, but it was great to be able to still connect with the people that we serve. And we learned a lot through that. And when you think about what are the things that we all learned during COVID that we want to keep, we definitely want to keep a virtual presence. And when we think about those wintry days here in Michigan, it'd be sure nice for caregivers to have that option to join programs virtually or just by phone instead of having to navigate the icy roads.
So do you have an office, a physical location? Where would that be?
Wow, I don't remember. Oh, yes, that's right. We do. We've been working remotely from home for so long. We almost forgot. Our headquarters are in Southfield, and we do have offices throughout the state. My office, in fact, is in Norton Shores. I hope it's still there, right across from Tanglewood. And it's a little office tucked back in there, right across the street. But we are always available with the helpline. And you can also email us at our helpline, and we have helpline staff specific to the Michigan chapter. So that's helplinegmc@alz.org. And at that website, the alz.org, we also have a chat option. So if you go to that website, alz.org, and I've laughed about this the last month or so, nobody told me that they dropped the www. When you go to websites, you don't have to type that in anymore. Nobody told me. So our website is
Z generation is aware of that, I'm afraid. So,
there you go. That's where I learned it from my kids. So alz.org. That chat is available 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week, which is again a nice option.
Great. All right. So talk a little bit about where things are going with treatment of Alzheimer's. Research, you mentioned research. Maybe you or Jean could talk to us about that.
Jean, I'm going to let you share.
What's the role of the Alzheimer's Association in research?
Sure. And again, thanks for having us. We're both really excited to be here. So the Alzheimer's Association, we're driven by our mission to lead the way to end Alzheimer's and other dementia. And we do this by accelerating global research and also driving risk reduction and early detection. And as Susan just talked about, maximizing our quality care and support. And I'm very, very proud to share that the Alzheimer's Association, as Susan mentioned, it's the largest non-funder of Alzheimer's research on the planet. And we have the highest impact worldwide, just behind the Chinese. In fact, right now, $235 million is invested in more than 650 projects in 39 countries. And so we really, again, it's global. We span 6 continents with all of our different research projects. We're in every continent except Antarctica, but maybe someday we'll be there too. And at any given moment, research is happening, learning's happening, and we cross industries, and we're really the ones uniting the efforts. Really, it's because we all share the same goal, which of course is to end Alzheimer's disease and help people as they're living with it right now. So discovery is also happening, and we're just really proud that the Alzheimer's Association has played a vital role in every significant development in research.
So what's in the pipeline?
You couldn't have asked a better question with this timing. On June 7th, the very first treatment for Alzheimer's was passed. And on behalf of those impacted by Alzheimer's, the Alzheimer's Association welcomes and we celebrate the Food and Drug Administration's accelerated approval of this drug. It's called aducanumab, or the brand name is called Aduhelm. And again, this was just a couple of weeks ago. It's historic news. Again, it's the first treatment approved for Alzheimer's disease since 2003, and the very first ever to address underlying biology of Alzheimer's. The other medications approved were approved for symptom treatment. So this Aduhelm, it's very pivotal. It's not a cure, but it's really a turning point in the treatment and research of Alzheimer's. And we're really hoping it's just the beginning of many more treatment options. And with other disease entities like cancer, history has shown that approvals of the first drug in a new category, it invigorates the field, it increases investments in new treatments, and generates greater innovation. And already since June 7th, there are 2 more potential treatments in the pipeline in phase 3. So it's already happening. So in a nutshell, Aduhelm, it's a new type of Alzheimer's treatment. It addresses the disease in a way that's never been done before compared with other currently approved drugs. And really for many people, the approval of this drug can mean more time for them, more time for them to actively participate in their daily life, to have a sustained independence in their life, to hold on to memories longer, be with their family members longer. So we're really thrilled that this will lead to some early diagnosed individuals that will have access to better care and treatment options. And really, we want to help them understand the risks and benefits, but it gives them a chance and a choice to potentially buy more time until better treatments, which will be coming down the pipeline, can get approved. And if anyone is interested in this brand new treatment, we really encourage folks to go ahead and talk to their physician or healthcare provider. So it's really an exciting time in Alzheimer's research.
Yeah, it's very exciting. It was an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal today about the drug and about that approval. Went into a little detail around some of the controversy because some of the studies didn't show it to be that effective, but the studies weren't well constructed, and more recent studies have shown it significantly delays progression and attacks the plaques and tangles that are part of the anatomy of Alzheimer's disease. You mentioned that early treatment is important because as of today, there's nothing that reverses the deterioration, but can slow advance. So what are some ways to be alert to early signs of Alzheimer's and get people diagnosed early?
Yeah, that's a really good question too. And to your point, the accelerated approval from the FDA means that they're going to continuously look at the individuals that are receiving the treatment to look at the benefits from it. So that's one reason why it did get approved. And also it does, like you mentioned, looks at the anatomy, and it helps with the plaques, which is a buildup of the brain that causes cognitive decline. But there's on the website, like Susan mentioned, at alz.org, right there's 10 warning signs that we always encourage individuals to go and check out. And I really like this piece because when we are talking with the public and they do see, these 10 warning signs, immediately they think, oh my gosh, I have all of these. But what is important is that you're looking at your baseline and what is normal age-related changes, which everybody goes through, versus what are some things on this list of 10 warning signs, like, of course, kind of the top one that people discuss is forgetfulness. It might be making, not very good decisions. That is another one. Their language skills start to become diminished. So it's really important to take a peek at that list. If you have any concerns about yourself or somebody else, again, reach out to the healthcare professional, because it could be a myriad of things, not just, dementia.
Great. Well, thank you. So what about clinical trials? People are interested in being enrolled. How does that happen?
Yeah, really, we're hoping, of course, with Aduhelm being approved, there's clinical trials for medications. We're also hoping to help people here and now with the disease. So improving their quality of life, because it's a long disease process. The average person has it for 8 years. However, you can have it up to 20 years. And so that's a very long time to slowly decline and progress in an illness. And so really some ways for improving the quality of life, there's also treatments that are helping that. Some people who are living with Alzheimer's or another dementia, they may have symptoms like depression or agitation or anxiety, or they might have sleep disturbances. And researchers are also working on ways to minimize those type of symptoms too. So those types of things, really can affect your quality of life. And if we can minimize anxiety, agitation, depression, sleep disturbances, it's not only going to help the person who's diagnosed, it will thereby hopefully also improve the quality of life for their care partner or their caregiver. My mom had Alzheimer's for over 10 years, and I can say that when she felt more at peace and she slept well, guess what? So did my dad. So it's really a family disease, and we're hoping to meet people where they are and help with quality of life too. You mentioned it's sort of a two-part question. If you don't mind, I'll talk a little bit about another real easy way to get involved in clinical trials. We try to make it as easy as possible, but the Alzheimer's Association has what's called Trial Match, and it's a service that provides customized lists of clinical studies that is based on information that you provide that you can do over the phone with that helpline that Susan mentioned, or through alz.org. You can go and find Trial Match on our website, and you provide this information. It's free, it's easy to use, and it allows you to see which studies you're a good fit for you or a family member. You can search for studies or sign up for study updates. And once you are matched, you then can decide if you want to move forward and pursue the opportunity. So they'll let you know what you match for. But for people living with dementia and those personally affected by it, participating in research, it's really a great way to make a difference, to take action. And, as we like to say, don't just hope for a cure, but help us find one. We're always looking for research study participants. I mentioned the association alone has over 650. And we also need healthy individuals as well who have healthy brains. So, if you are interested, go to the website alz.org and type in Trial Match.
Great, thanks so much. So our time is short. Any final comments, Susan or Jean?
I have one. I would be remiss talking about research if I didn't let everybody know about a really cool tool that we have. It's an application or an app that's called Science Hub, and it's free and available, wherever you get your app. So if you wanted to learn more about what's happening in dementia research around the world, really consider downloading the Alzheimer's Association Science Hub app. And at any given moment, you can have research right at your fingertips.
Great, thanks, Jean. Susan, anything?
Oh, thank you.
Great, well, thank you both for a very informative talk and discussion about a very important topic. With that, I will return it to you, Mr. President.
A wonderful presentation and very timely. Any questions for Susan? Rem, our expert facilitator.
During the time we recorded this, but Medicare's decision not to cover this new drug, can you speak to that?
No, thank you. No, not really. It's still a positive that this is something that we're looking at. So the thing about research is there are always more studies that are building on each other. And so, I know from my background with public hospital, I know how that process works with Medicare making decisions about coverage. And I know that can change with new information. And so, that's where we're at. It's kind of it's one step along the way. So, and for any of you who know how research works, with clinical research, there can be, studies that show one thing and other studies that show something else. And hopefully over time, there'll be other studies that are more conclusive, right? And I understand that that's what CMS does. They're looking for hard evidence. So Was that a good way of avoiding your question? Good,
Sidestep brilliantly.
thank you.
Do we have a Zoom question?
Great.
I'm on.
Is the treatment preventive or palliative? I would almost say neither. So it is not, referring to Aduhelm, I'm assuming, the new drug. So I guess I like to put things in terms that I can understand better. So I guess I would describe it in a way that, so if you think about someone who has Alzheimer's disease for 20 years, and if you know anything about it, some of the most difficult years or the most difficult stage is in the middle to late. A lot of difficult behaviors, very, very stressful for caregivers. So if you could choose your journey through Alzheimer's, would you rather have like 12 years in the early stage and then maybe just a few years in the middle to late? Or would you like to be stuck in that really difficult stage for a long time? The idea with this is that if it's, and this is specific to people who have mild cognitive impairment or early stages of Alzheimer's, so it's for a very specific group. The idea is that it would keep you in that early stage longer rather than, because it's not going to stop, the disease is not going to reverse damage. It's likely to just increase quality of life for a longer period of time.
Right, so I'm almost like a plant because I work in Tanglewood Park across from Susan, although we just met today. So Senior Resources, my employer, has a team in this big event coming in September. So could you maybe tell the group about the Walk to End Alzheimer's? That's a very major fundraiser and very important in raising money for research.
You do. Well, thank you for having a team. And I'm not texting my friends. I'm just Googling like crazy because that's what I'm really good at. Yes, we have the Walk to End Alzheimer's coming up in September right here in Muskegon. And you would think that I would know exactly when that was. And it's definitely in September. And you and I will definitely be there.
We'll put it in our newsletter. Everybody will know.
And yes, I'm so sorry because there are so many of them and I'm going to several. But yeah, the Walk to End Alzheimer's is one of our September 25th, just came to me. Was that the location? Heritage Landing. That's what I thought. No, thank you so much. It's one of our largest fundraisers and it's important because we're a nonprofit organization. So we rely on those donations and it's a fun time. So there are some people who are big time serious fundraisers and there are people who go out there sometimes with a person with dementia because it's a nice way to get out and get fresh air and exercise. So thank you for that. And all of it spreads awareness. So if you can't donate or you can't walk, if you can support somebody who does, even just cheer them on, that's awesome.
Susan, thank you. Your enthusiasm is contagious and it was a good, when it was mentioned that it's a family disease, I'd like you to delineate whether that means it's hereditary or whether it affects the whole family or both.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I'm probably not qualified to speak about all of that, but yes, it can be genetic. If you have a first-degree relative, mother, father, brother, sister, who has Alzheimer's, you are at an increased risk of developing it yourself. So that's scary, but not everyone does. So there can be a genetic risk and there can be different reasons that you have risk. And I'll tell you, well, I guess I should be a commercial because, you know, I'm here with the Alzheimer's Association, but everywhere I go, I'm always telling people 4 things we all should do every day to protect our brain against cognitive decline. Green leafy vegetables, Mediterranean diet, so eating healthy, exercise of some sort, of some frequency, get your heart rate up, start sweating. The third one is social interaction, be social, what you're doing right here. And the last one, which I know Rich knows because Rich is one of our valued volunteers and he just delivered this education program the other night for us. So thank you, Rich, for being a volunteer. And this is one of his favorite programs to do. The last one is cognitive stimulation. So anything that challenges your brain, as I say, even if you're terrible at it. So go try to learn Chinese or Russian. And even if you're awful, it's that effort. It's like when you're trying to work out, but you don't do a very good job, you're still exercising your muscles. And with cognitive stimulation, you're still creating those new brain connections. So anyway, I have a way of getting off topic, but what you were saying is, yes, absolutely. You're at increased risk if you've got a first degree relative. And if you've got two first degree relatives, you know, it's even increased even more.
One last question, Pam.
I have heard that ginkgo biloba helps and is an over-the-counter drug. And also I wondered if you are still using Aricept.
Not personally, but yes. So, sorry, my humor is inappropriate sometimes. I know, it's so nice to see people. So ginkgo biloba, what we would always say is check with your doctor. There are a lot of infomercials and there are a lot of ads and there are a lot of miracle cures out there. They may or may not work. Look for good science, look for research-based evidence, and your doctor can help you find that. Should you take ginkgo? Really, it's between you and your doctor. There are different supplements, there are different vitamins that may be good for you. And your doctor may say, you know what, you don't have anything else going on? Go ahead and take ginkgo. It's not gonna hurt you. And there may be someone else that there's a reason that they shouldn't take it. So definitely talk with your doctor. But if you hear something that sounds too good to be true, as your mother probably always told you, it probably is. So check with your doctor and look at the research. And you can call the Alzheimer's Association. You can call that helpline and say, hey, I just saw a commercial for something that says this is a new breakthrough. Is that true? And we can give you some information about that. And as far as Aricept, yes. Yes. So the two classes, I mean, they call it a third class because it's a combination, but the cholinesterase inhibitors and glutamate modulators are still very much used. And it's kind of the same idea. It's not a cure. It's not going to reverse damage, but it can help with some of those symptoms. And as Jean was talking about in the video, if you can alleviate some of those really difficult behaviors, some of those difficult symptoms, it makes it better for the whole family. So it makes behaviors a little easier to deal with sometimes. So that's a good thing.
Well, thank you very much again, Susan. Totally. Before you sneak off, I have this wonderful certificate for you, and our Rotary Club will make a donation to community economic development on your behalf. I have one for Jean's too. So if you ever see her again in person, you can give her this wonderful certificate. And thank you very much. All right, another round of applause. Thank you. We're on to birthdays, and I see both birthday boys are kind of right by each other. Rich Berry and Jean Fefke, they share a birthday, and it is on August 28th. So let's all join together and singing happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to. Oh, that was one of our, I don't know, least enthusiastic happy birthdays. Maybe just because we're spread out. I was getting nervous. I was going to have to carry it there for a second. Okay, our Rotary Spotlight, our member spotlight to highlight our vocations and our profession this week is Erin Kuhn. And fun fact about Erin is we have known each other since elementary school. And her dad, Dave Sander, who was the mayor of Roosevelt Park, was also my Little League coach. So Erin's going to tell us a little bit about what she does at her day job.
Hi, my name is Erin Kuhn, and I'm the Executive Director of the West Michigan Shoreline Regional Development Commission. I joined Rotary in 2015 because I can serve others through what Rotary does, and I believe in their mission. I am married to my high school sweetheart, Chris Kuhn, who is a former Rotarian. We have 3 children, ages 21, 18, and 15, and we live in Norton Shores. I love family, being with family. I love spending time with my family and friends on our boat that we just got last year. And I love being involved in our church. The West Michigan Shoreline Regional Development Commission, also known as WMSRDC, is a local, state, and federally designated regional planning and development agency. We serve 120 local units of government in West Michigan in the counties of Lake, Mason, Muskegon, and Lake Mason, Muskegon, Newaygo, and Oceana counties. And we administer programs in transportation, economic development, environmental, and local government services. And our involvement with the local communities really help us identify and be able to put our finger on the pulse of what's happening at the local level. And I can bring that into Rotary, and through the programs and initiatives that Rotary has, do more than what I'm able to do in my professional job. I just try to bring all of the things I have learned in my professional career to put service above self and bring that into Rotary, and do that through the work of Rotary.
Thank you, Erin. Announcements and committee reports. I have an update hot off the press from John Noling about Day of Caring coming up on September 10th for United Way. And our club and the Rewind Club are sponsoring a group of 15 Orchard View and Muskegon High School Rotary Interact students. And we need more volunteers. And John made an awesome sign up, and you can see that it looks like there's 4 or 5 on there. And we need at least 10 more volunteers to make this day a success. So a few of the things that you can do during Day of Caring this year is landscaping and painting at an adult foster care home, taking care of the veterans' gravestones at the cemetery, at Evergreen Cemetery, planting flags. And did that pretty much cover your note, John? Are there any other things? So 10 more people, is that what we need? At least 10? Who in this room has volunteered before a Day of Caring? I see a lot of potential volunteers here. It's a great day, something really rewarding to do with your company if you want to take a couple people out and get out there and get your hands dirty and do some really important work in the community. So any questions, see John Noling or Blake Kramer, or sign your name to the big board at the front of the club. Also wanted to let everyone know that we have Rotary Masks available for $5. Doug Wood has some at his table. He is modeling one of them right now. So for the very low price of $5, you can not only protect yourself and those around you, but you can be on brand for our Rotary Club meetings, which is always very important. Couple other announcements. I had the opportunity to be the guest speaker at the Montague Whitehall Rotary Club last week. And I want to thank John for making the connection. And it was fun to go up there and see Dave Sipka. He was the one who introduced me to the club. Many of you know Dave from his time in our club, or superintendent of the MAISD. And if you've been around for a while, his Christmas Carol renditions during the canned food drive around the holidays. I asked him if he was going to bring that back for the Montague Whitehall Club. He didn't say either way, so I'm not quite sure, but he always did a really good job. And it was really fascinating to get out and see their club. They meet at the Whitehall Athletic Center, and it's a smaller club than ours. They have about 50 members, and I think about 20 were at the meeting. But if you've ever been to one of their meetings, they have a lot of fun. They do a lot of donations, like give $1 for some things. And so I learned what they had going on. And we talked about how we can collaborate between our two clubs, like we've done with the food trucks recently. So get on out and check out one of their meetings, and we'll be hearing more about how we're going to work together in the past. The last announcement is, did you know that our Rotary Club has its own YouTube channel? Are you aware? And I'm guessing many of you are not aware, because there are 5 subscribers to this channel. So that means that 213 more of us can subscribe and they can see, we can see on a regular basis, our programs are available online to watch, and also our member spotlights, as well as some of our club meetings. So Mike does a great job putting the content from our club meetings up there, and I would encourage you to get out. We're going to put a URL, a link in the rim. It's bit.ly.com/Rotary YouTube, and you can go right to the Rotary YouTube and see everything that we have going on. All right, that brings us on to our raffle. Josh Silvis, who I learned has been to 2 major league ballparks with his family. His second one just recently, last week. Yeah, and it's not Miller Park anymore. It's like American. So yes. So all right. So Josh, what are we doing first? What's the denomination? $20, starting with the big payout. 308. Rich Haldeman's guess, Andrea. All right. Rich, you should hand her an application while she has the $20. Donating back to the club. All right. Are we doing 10 or 5? 10, all right. Renee Dudak. Yeah. $374. Jackie Fisher, our stage manager today. I would keep the $5 personally. You should. You've earned it today for being stage manager. All right, well, that concludes our meeting. Our program next week is going to be Latinos Working Towards the Future. This will be a taped program. Well, it's actually not tape. We don't use tape. It's all digital. It'll be a recorded program next week. If everyone could please rise, we are going to recite the 4-way test. Of the things we think, say, and do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial for all concerned? And also, before we ring the bell, I want to thank Susan, Andrea, and Todd for joining us today. Have a great week, everyone.